Good afternoon. Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc is set to meet with his American counterpart in Washington, D.C. again today.
The latest round of talks come as another deadline approaches, the three-day pause on 50% U.S. tariffs, which was put in place by President Donald Trump earlier this week. Yesterday, officials met for 3 hours, the longest such meeting during these trade talks. 3 sources telling CTV News there are tariff reductions as part of the agreement, but it's unclear how far those levies would go down. Those would affect industries like steel, aluminum, and autos. Prime Minister Mark Carney has asked the premiers to put American alcohol back on store shelves as one of Canada's concessions, but not all are fully supportive.
What I would say to Canadians is leave it there. If we put the booze back on the shelves, don't buy it. Let it sit on the shelf where the Liquor Mart employees will be putting it, and buy the Canadian stuff instead.
Unlike other tariffs, the new 50% duties would impact goods that are compliant with the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement. The tariffs would affect a variety of Canadian goods ranging from hockey sticks and honey to concrete and plywood.
Meanwhile, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has offered his thoughts on the trade talks. The Canadian press has obtained audio from a fundraiser where Vance stated that Prime Minister Mark Carney tried to out-tough U.S. President Donald Trump in the negotiations, but had to climb down on a lot of issues. Vance described Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre as a non-entity in the talks, while going on to praise Conservative MP Jamil Jovani for his advocacy. Vance and Jovani have been friends since they attended Yale together. CTV's Jeremy Charon has been following the talks very closely. He joins us live now from Ottawa with the latest. Okay, Jeremy, where do things stand as this deadline approaches?
Yeah, Michelle, watching Washington closely today, another important meeting set to take place, scheduled originally for 10:30, pushed to 11:30, but we're told the Canadian delegation has not yet arrived to the U.S. Trade Representative's office. That's Jameson Greer's office. What we know is that Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc, along with Chief Trade Negotiator Janice Charette, a team of trade experts, and the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Marc-Andre Blanchard, are all set to arrive at some point here to take part in this meeting with the U.S. Trade Representative's office. Today is the day. Today is the day that this deal has to get signed because the clock is ticking on a midnight deadline. And if that deadline passes without a deal being reached, then we would see the imposition of these new 50% tariffs on a long list of goods, as you've touched on, that U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed. We know broad strokes what is being proposed in this deal. We know that the U.S. administration is looking to get U.S. booze back on Canadian shelves. The Prime Minister has already spoken to the premiers about that. We know Canada is looking for a reduction in sectoral tariffs, that those are part of the negotiations. The big question that remains is, are the details. How much of a reduction is Canada able to negotiate when it comes to those Section 232 tariffs on steel and aluminum, on softwood lumber, and on autos? And will those reductions be applied to all of those sectors or only some of them? So some big questions that remain, some big details that are still have not been shared, Michelle, and those are going to be the most important things that we'll learn, hopefully, at some point today.
We know some premiers have pushed back on lifting of the booze bans. Do we have a sense of where they stand broadly on the talks?
Yeah, I mean, broadly, it seems like, you know, some of them begrudgingly, premiers have accepted that they will do what the Prime Minister is asking and put U.S. booze back on Canadian shelves. It would appear that is absolutely crucial to this deal getting across the finish line. You heard Premier Wab Kinew in the clip that you guys just played. It doesn't mean Canadians have to keep buying that booze, even if it goes back on the shelves. He was, you know, pretty candid in his comments yesterday. Premiers across the board seem to be willing to work together as one team, Team Canada, as we've heard the Prime Minister repeat over and over again, to get this deal across the finish line, although some are not so keen on, you know, relinquishing some of the negotiating powers that they have. Nova Scotia's Premier Tim Houston also speaking to this effect. Here's what he had to say.
The things that have been said about our country, said about us as Canadians, have been difficult. There's still a huge emotional component that no signature on a piece of paper is going to wipe away that straight away. That's going to take a long period of time.
So Premier Houston touching a little bit on the same thing as Premier Wab Kinew did, which is that even if premiers do go ahead, should there be a deal, and put U.S. booze back on the shelves, Canadians ultimately are going to be the ones that make the decision whether or not to start buying that alcohol again, Michelle. And emotions are running high, and frustrations are running high, too, among Canadians.
Sure, they definitely are. CTV's Jeremy Charon live for us in Ottawa. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime.
In Kitchener this morning, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre warned against accepting a trade deal that would leave Canadian workers at a huge disadvantage.
We are concerned about rumors that Mr. Carney might be willing to cave and accept one-sided tariffs that would ultimately put our businesses at a competitive disadvantage. If our aluminum, steel, lumber, and automobile companies are paying tariffs and competing with Americans, businesses that are tariff-free, then we might see a large sucking sound of Canadian jobs moving south of the border. We cannot accept the deindustrialization of our economy. That would put us at an incredible position of weakness while threatening the jobs of Canadians.
Poilievre also called on the Prime Minister to keep his campaign promise to not sign a bad deal. Well, still to come, continuing coverage of the ongoing trade negotiations between Canada and the United States. We'll take a closer look at the U.S. booze bans a little later in the newscast. Police are asking for the public's help to locate a man wanted in connection with a sexual assault last Saturday. Police are searching for 58-year-old Jose Mario Recinos. He's accused of sexually assaulting a person near University and College. Police allege he grabbed the victim as he walked past them on a sidewalk. Police are asking anyone with information on his whereabouts to please come forward. And police are also searching for a man wanted in connection with an assault at a nightclub dating back to June. Police have released images of the suspect who's accused of assaulting a person at a club in the area of King and Spadina on June 21st. The victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect is described as being between age 20 and 25 years old, standing around 5'8" with brown hair.
Police responded to a serious crash in Oakville last night. A car colliding with a tanker truck on the westbound 403 at Dundas around 9:30. One person was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The highway was shut down for several hours for the investigation as well as the cleanup, but has since reopened. The cause of this crash is still being investigated.
Speed limits have increased on several more highways in Ontario. The province has been increasing the posted limits from 100 to 110 kilometers per hour on some highways. Starting today, highways with increased speed limits include the 400 from the 401 to Lake Joseph Road in Muskoka, Highway 115 from Highway 35 to the Parkway, Highway 7 between Appleton Side Road and the 417, and a stretch of the 416 in Ottawa.
The Toronto Police College hosted a graduation event this morning for participants in its Summer Youth in Policing initiative. This program offers youth aged 15 to 18 who live in neighborhood improvement areas hands-on experience in the policing field. The paid opportunity sees participants working alongside police officers and civilian staff in a range of roles. Police say the initiative gives participants a chance to develop job skills while fostering positive partnerships with the service.
In the past few weeks, you have had the opportunity to see what policing is about and consider whether it's a career path that interests you. With our multi-year hiring plan, we are in a period right now where we are recruiting more police officers. We know the important role that police officers play in keeping our community safe, and we know that we need the energy and the enthusiasm of the best and the brightest that all of you represent.
You stood up to say that you want to protect your communities, you want to serve, you're building skills, you're building relationships, you're getting a better understanding of what it means to serve, and getting a closer look to the commitment, the passion, the teamwork, the leadership it takes to be a police officer.
From day one, to me, it wasn't simply just about showing up to a job for money. Rather, it was about building real, authentic relationships and growing as an individual.
I've learned that policing isn't just enforcement. It's teamwork, empathy, outreach, and building relationships with our people. Above all, policing is all about trust, safety, and that sense of family within communities.
As we move forward from today, let us take everything that we've learned and the friendships that we built back into our community. Let's continue to lead with empathy, courage, and commitment to making a difference.
Congratulations to the 2026 class. This Youth in Policing initiative started in 2006, and since then it's welcomed more than 4,500 participants. Well, today is the final day for anyone interested in running for the upcoming municipal election to file their papers.
The past week has seen a few high-profile candidates enter the race and at least one drop out. CTV's Siobhan Morris has been following the final day of nominations for us and is live from City Hall. Siobhan?
Sean, it's been a really busy morning here inside the registration alley at City Hall. Lots of people signing up, really proud, taking pictures with their registration sheets. As you mentioned, some people are actually dropping out and endorsing other candidates. We are expecting a lot of activity still until the deadline to register. That's at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Of course, the big race to watch is the race for mayor. We see Olivia Chow going to try to repeat as mayor of the city of Toronto. Brad Bradford, of course, her challenger for the second time. And it's unclear right now whether Chris Alexander will be able to be a spoiler in that and help return Olivia Chow for a second term. That's been one of the main concerns or questions about Chris Alexander's policy or candidacy, because we haven't really seen him announce much policy at this point. We are also seeing the return of Mike Layton after some time away from City Hall. He is returning to challenge for a seat in University Rosedale. We actually just heard from somebody who'd been running against him, dropping out to endorse Mike Layton this afternoon. Of course, Nate Erskine-Smith, not a familiar face here at City Hall, but he has had a very tumultuous year, resigning as a federal MP, trying for a Liberal candidacy in Scarborough Southwest with designs to ultimately run for Ontario Liberal leadership. But here he is running for City Hall. He says excited to make a difference at the municipal level. There is another familiar face returning to a contest at City Hall, Mary Fragadakis. She's a longtime city councillor, unseated in 2018, and she's been spending the last 8 years leading the Toronto Danforth BIA. We heard from her. Here's why she says she's trying again to return to City Hall.
I'm running because I actually see this as a continuation of the last 16 years of public service that I have given to Toronto. 8 years in City Hall and 8 years working out in the communities on issues around small businesses, local economies, beautification, streetscaping, public realms, basically city building. So in agencies adjacent to the city, but just in a public-private partnership.
So we are expecting at least one name to add their name to the potential ballot this fall. That's Sean Chen. He had been a Liberal MP. He recently said he'd be stepping down from that role. He found the job just too challenging after recovering from a car accident. But he is going to throw his name in the hat to run for councillor after time as a TDSB trustee and chair. Reporting live, I'm Siobhan Morris. Michelle and Sean, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. Well, the 147th edition of the Canadian National Exhibition is finally underway.
The gates opened this morning for the annual fair, featuring all sorts of food, rides, and, of course, performers. CTV's Jessica Smith joins us live now from the X with more. Ooh, I love the Midway.
I am on the Polar Express, and all of my friends here are waiting, but we're going to have so much fun. But today is the day that it all begins. This is fun. It is rides. It is food. It is entertainment. It is so much more. And as you mentioned, the 147th edition of the Canadian National Exhibition, or the CNE, or the X, it all begins today. Now, the opening ceremony is kicked off this morning at 10 a.m. with special guests, Canadian Space Agency astronaut Colonel Jeremy Hansen, in attendance to officially launch day one of the CNE. CP24's Bill Coulter spoke to him early this morning.
Yeah, it's quite an honor, obviously, to get to open the CNE. I didn't have that on my resume before, so that's pretty cool. But it's fun to be back here because I have a strong connection with this place. Growing up not far away on a farm, and then being here as a young child, being impressed then, like I was sharing today, bringing my daughter here 10 years ago and really seeing her light up here. So this is special for me.
And sticking with that space theme, new this year, the CNE Space Experience, and there's a musical collab with North by Northeast, but it's all about the rides. They are rolling, the food is fried, and the atmosphere is set for 2 weeks of memory-building moments. Speaking to visitors who made their way down to the exhibition grounds today, the CNE is woven into the fabric of not just the city, but the country. Some have been coming for 70 years, while others, it's their first time making new traditions. But for everyone that we spoke to, the sentiment was the same. The CNE is all about being together.
You know, it's beautiful, and we come at least 10 days out of the run of the fair. I know, we're kind of crazy, but it's beautiful to make memories with him and share memories with him.
My whole life I've come here as a kid with my grandmother.
There's tons of stuff to do, tons of stuff to see.
I like the rides.
You like the rides? Lots of interesting food?
Yeah, I heard there's hash brown ice cream sandwiches this year.
I've been looking for this every year. This is my one event that I go to every year because it's bringing community all together.
Now they are expecting about 1.4 million visitors throughout the CNE. Again, it all starts today and it goes until September 7th. And I have to tell you, the Polar Express is a point of pride for so many people, and it's a lot of fun. Reporting live, I'm Jessica Smith. I'll send things back inside to the studio.
Hold on to that mic.
Are you having fun?
I don't know. I don't think I could do that one anymore.
Yeah.
Do you like it? Oh,
it's
you
pretty
love
violent, but I like the rides. But you know, you get off, you need to sit down on a bench, take a little time to yourself. Jess will be fine.
I love it. She's having fun there today. Meanwhile, Korean boy band BTS is set to take the stage at Rogers Stadium for a pair of shows this weekend.
Members of the BTS Army have already turned out in force, lining up outside the stadium to get their hands on exclusive merchandise. CB24's Siege Nelson has been speaking with fans and joins us now live with more. Siege?
Jean-Michel, there is so much excitement in the air. It's been nearly a decade since BTS played in Toronto, and its Army was out in full force this morning. I'm standing outside Rogers Stadium, where it is the line to get merch. Lines opened at 8 a.m. People were here at 5 o'clock in the morning with lines wrapping all the way around Shepherd Avenue. But let's talk to some dedicated fans, members of the Army. I caught up with these ladies earlier. So you were here around 6, 7 o'clock. You're just getting out now. What was it like waiting in line with all the other Army members?
I mean, when I came in from Downs View, I could already see the line, and so we stood in line like wrapping around for about like 2 hours. Yeah. And then they kind of just let us in because it was getting quite cramped, and I think it was like almost like a hazard. But I think it went pretty smoothly. It was pretty organized, I would say.
And certainly worth the wait. I see some of you guys wearing the exclusive merch already. And you were telling me you were at the concert in 2018. That was the last time BTS was in Toronto. How have you seen them just turn into this global superstar over the last 10 years or so?
Okay, I used to listen to them like back in 2013. And then people would make fun of me, and I was like, guys, I'm onto something here. And now it's something big, so I think it's just enjoyable to go to the concert this time around with my like high school friends and like just people that I've been really close with for a while.
You were definitely onto something because they are huge now, and a lot of people have grown up with them. What is it that you love so much about BTS?
Oh, just personalities, their voices, the dancing. They're so interactive with their fans. Like, you can really tell that they really care about what they're putting out and the fans' reactions as well. So it's really nice to have that like community, and with even just like people around too. Like the BTS community, the Army is just so nice, so awesome. The people that we are standing in line with were just so nice. They're everything about it is awesome.
It's an Army, but everyone is just incredibly nice. It's a huge family. Well, thank you so much, ladies. Congrats on getting the merch, the dedication, and have fun at the concert this weekend.
Thank you so much.
Well, speaking of the concert, it is sold out. 2 sold-out shows here at Rogers Stadium, but BTS Fever is taking over all across the city. Earlier in the day, over on Yonge Street, they actually renamed a portion of Yonge Street to BTS Boulevard. They're going to have the street signs light up in purple while the boy band is in town. But again, this is a huge cultural moment for anyone who loves K-pop. Michelle and Sean, the last time they were here was in 2018, so fans waiting a long time for this moment, much more than a concert to them. Reporting live from outside Rogers Stadium, back to you.
Thanks, CJ. And there's a lot of big names coming to the city this weekend. Ed Sheeran took the stage at the Rogers Centre last night for the first of 3 shows in the city.
When I sing a certain line of a song, you are going to take a photo with a flash on. When you take a photo with a flash on, this whole place is going to sparkle. When I say everyone must do it, everyone must do it. You've all got phones. You've all got phones. I don't need a camera really to capture this moment. I remember how you looked tonight.
The singer-songwriter will be performing again tonight and for a final time on Saturday. The shows are part of his Loop tour in support of his 8th album called Play. And if you're heading to any of the events around town this busy weekend, a reminder that there are some transit service changes to keep in mind. Line 1 subway service ends between Lawrence West and St. George stations at 11:59 p.m. tonight. Shuttle buses will run instead, and both the TTC and GO Transit are offering additional service to get attendees to the CNE. Full details are on those transit agency websites.
And the sun is shining big time on this Friday, perfect for all the fun on tap. Here is a live look at the CNE now underway. It's going to be a wonderful stretch into August and beyond. And Jess Smith, she's probably off the Polar Express by now, or Lindsay Morrison is also on the grounds exploring. What are you up to, Lindsay?
Well, Michelle, I'm hanging out in the Kitty Midway area. I must say good on Jess, because these smaller rides are a bit more my speed these days. But it is packed here. Tons of families. I think the weather has something to do with it. We have a beautiful blue sky, loads of sunshine. It's hot but not sweltering. And of course, the weekend forecast not looking quite the same as this. But hey, beautiful kickoff to the CNE. Come on down today if you're considering venturing out. Let's begin with a look at the current weather conditions. And yeah, temperature-wise right now, it is warm, but again, not boiling hot. This is nice to see. 23 degrees feels more like 26, and there's a very light breeze coming off of Lake Ontario right now. I'm happy to share a southeasterly wind for the most part. It's looking lovely on the satellite and radar. Okay, it's all clear right now here in the GTA, but already off on the corner of that screen, you can see that we've got some rain on the way and possibly some thunderstorms, heavy downpours impacting our weekend. We will get to that momentarily, but here's today at a glance. It's looking like a great one. 26 for the high, humidex 27, so not particularly humid, but I will say standing in the direct sun, it does feel hot. So my two little friends here have the right idea. They've got their sunglasses on. We have Alyssa and Ariana. You are sisters. Tell me, what are you looking forward to at the CNE this year?
I'm looking forward to going on rides and other games and every other fun thing.
Okay, rides, games, that sounds good. What about you?
I love going to the dog show, doing arcade, and the claw machine.
Wow, I think they've covered it all. It sounds like you guys are going to have a wonderful day today. Have a great time. Thanks for dropping by to help me do the weather. We have a full look at your weekend weather forecast coming up. But for now, Sean and Michelle, we're going to send it back to them. Back to you. Say back to you.
Back to you.
Back to you.
Back to you.
Great job, girls. Oh, I want more of them. Have the best time at the fair. Take care. To some news now. The Ministry of Natural Resources says the massive Rinker Lake complex fires burning north of Thunder Bay are still out of control, but activity has remained low and some firefighting equipment is being demobilized. Across the northwest region, there was one new wildfire confirmed as of yesterday evening for a total of 69, 7 out of control. In the northeast, there were no new fires spotted yesterday. 41 are burning, none of them considered out of control. Over in BC, where the Bold Range wildfire near Summerland remains out of control, the blaze has destroyed about 150 structures and has grown to about 240 square kilometers in size. Residents in the area are returning home, but there are concerns about increased fire activity as temperatures rise. There were about 120 active wildfires across that province as of yesterday, with roughly 45 not contained.
We return now to our top story, the ongoing trade negotiations with the United States. The Prime Minister has called for premiers to return U.S. booze to shelves as officials work to finalize a deal. CTV's Scott Hirsch has been following this story and joins us live with more. Scott, so what are we hearing from Canadians on this?
Sean, we are quickly barreling toward this deadline, this 3-day extension to give the two sides time to hammer out this deal. And although we have gotten few specifics about what it might contain and what might either side have given up, we do know that the American booze ban has really gotten under the skin of the Trump administration, and it has emerged as a key sticking point in the negotiations. But we've spoken to a lot of shoppers and also tried to get the comments from as many premiers as possible across the country. And many seem reluctant to ultimately support these American brands again, even if they are put back on shelves. And as part of the ongoing trade negotiations, as you mentioned, the Prime Minister has asked the premiers to resume selling American alcohol as a sign of good faith. One of the more critical voices has been Manitoba's Premier, Wab Kinew, who basically said if he does agree to put alcohol back on shelves, his advice to Canadians is to continue to promote Canadian products and buy Canadian products as much as possible. Here's more from Canadian shoppers we've spoken to right across the country in terms of where they stand and how they feel about American booze going back on the shelves.
We got the booze for Canadians only. They should leave the American beer, American stuff off the shelves.
We should keep our money here.
If they put it, we don't have to buy it.
We should be able to buy American wine and alcohol if we want.
I miss Jack Daniels. That was my favorite whiskey to drink.
I think the fact that we decided to put them off the shelves is a good thing in retaliation to the tariffs and everything. So I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't.
So a mixed reaction from those Canadians there, but a survey done by Polara does show that the booze ban is popular in Canada. It is supported by about 80% of Canadians in the provinces where it's still currently in place. However, the survey also showed that just over half said they would support lifting the ban, Sean, as part of a larger trade deal and helping it get across the finish line.
Scott, is there a sense that there could be a negative impact on Canadian booze dealers if American alcohol goes back on the shelves?
Well, Sean, we've also heard from those on the Canadian side of the industry, and distillers believe the Buy Canadian push we've seen for much of the past year and a half has really brought a noticeable increase in interest, and many hope that will continue. However, some producers tell us that selling a homegrown product at home remains harder than it sounds. Recent changes have allowed producers to ship alcohol directly to consumers across the country, but according to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, that really only attracts a small percentage of customers, so it's not a huge windfall there. However, if Canadians continue to turn up their noses at U.S. products, even if they are back on the shelves, it might take years for sales volumes to return to where they once were. And ultimately, Sean, that might be a boon for the Canadian producers.
Interesting times. Thank you very much. CTV's Scott Hurst joining us today.
Thanks, Sean.
Cleanup efforts and damage assessment are underway in the U.S. Northeast after tornadoes touched down. The twisters struck in Dover, Delaware, and on Long Island, New York. They happened during storms that battered the region with heavy rains yesterday. No injuries were reported. Crews will be on scene today in both locations to determine the strengths and paths of these tornadoes. A state of emergency was lifted in Dover this morning. The storms also caused flooding that trapped more than 70 people in their vehicles in New Jersey.
In the UK, Prince Harry and 6 other claimants have been ordered to pay an initial $13 million to the publisher of the Daily Mail newspaper. It follows their failed invasion of privacy case. A judge said today the payment will have to be made by August 28th, and the group could face an additional $34 million in legal costs. They lost a high court case in London last month, during which they alleged malpractice such as illegal hacking of phones. Some of their other claimants include Elton John and Elizabeth Hurley.
Giant panda twins at the Berlin Zoo celebrated their 2nd birthday with some special treats. The sisters were given a cake made from frozen beetroot and carrot juice. It's quite lovely. They're becoming increasingly independent, but still spend much of their time with their mother, Germany's only female giant panda. Both are still nursing, but one has developed a taste for bamboo and eagerly participates in medical training. The other is less enthusiastic about that. And the Toronto Zoo has revealed the name of its 3-week-old pygmy hippo calf. Maple is one of just 3 pygmy hippos in Canada, along with her parents, Kindia and Harvey. The zoo says her name celebrates the place she was born. It also introduced a limited edition pygmy plush toy with the name Maple embroidered on it. 10% of all proceeds from the toy will be donated to the Toronto Zoo Wildlife Conservancy. Lindsay.
Well, happy Friday, everyone. We are live here at the CNE. It is a fabulous day weather-wise. Let's take a look at our expected daytime highs. About 26 degrees here in Toronto is what we're forecasting. It is still going to feel close to 30 in some areas once you take the humidity into consideration. If you're headed to the X this evening, I always love it at nighttime with those midway lights. You can expect great conditions as well. But today is excellent weather-wise. The weekend less ideal. Here's what's coming. We are looking at a few rounds of rain, maybe some heavy downpours and perhaps some thunderstorms, and it could be unsettled both Saturday and Sunday. Coming up, we'll give you an idea of just how much rainfall is in the forecast. That's ahead here on CTV News at noon. Stay with us.
Happy Friday. this is what you want for a Friday in August. It is the summer. It is gorgeous. The X is on, and that looks like the place to be today.
The CNE is the best, but it does remind you a little bit that we are sort of getting to the end of the summer, but this is really the heart of the summer. You can kind of have the most fun. It's very central, so it'll be a good day. Lindsay, how you doing down there?
It's a perfect day, Sean and Michelle, and I'm just hanging on to this because it is the best looking day of the next 3, but I don't want to keep you from coming down here this weekend. You just might want to prepare yourself for the possibility of some active weather. We've been talking about summer, but I'm here at the Yeti station here where we're going to do a little bit of a winter experiment here. So, of course, the CNE is all about different foods, different cool things that you can try. This one is using liquid nitrogen. Do I have that right? Okay, so it's kind of a cool treat, and my understanding is that it results in something kind of fun when you give it a try. So my wonderful helpers are going to give me a hand here. All right, let's see. This looks like a waffle bite, perhaps. Let's see. That's tasty. Wait, is something weird happening? Let's see. Yeah. That's cool, literally. Very nice. Thank you so much. I'm going to have more on that in just a moment. Oops. Here's a look at your weather. Let's get to your forecast. There is lots to discuss. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. So today, beautiful. We are all clear on the satellite and radar, but things are going to change as we make our way into the rest of the weekend. Today looks glorious. Low pressure system on the way, though, and with this, we are going to get a few rounds of rain moving in. Here's a look at the timing of it all. So, as we are waking up tomorrow, it's possible that some areas are going to get into some wet weather. I was hoping it was going to hold off until the afternoon. However, our forecast radar more recently does show the opportunity for rain and wet weather. And again, into the evening hours, this is when we could experience some of the heaviest downpours. So be mindful of this if you have plans. I know lots of folks do on a Saturday evening. Into Sunday, it's not a complete washout of a day, but we are looking at on and off showers, perhaps some heavy downpours in places once again. And then we really don't even dry out through Monday. We're looking at more in the way of precip and rainfall. It'll take until about Tuesday before we are more so in the clear. Right now, lovely as mentioned, beautiful blue sky, 23 degrees now in the city of Toronto, feeling like 26. Here's a look at what we can expect through the overnight hours tonight. 16 for a low under a partly cloudy sky. That is near normal. We were a little bit cool the last couple of nights, so this is pretty average, and it's going to be nice and comfortable if you want to venture out to the CNE this evening. Tomorrow's high around 25 degrees, humidex 30, and yes, it is unsettled. Pockets of sunshine, sure, but that threat of rain and that risk of thunderstorms is going to be there throughout the day and into the evening, as mentioned. And I know that many people are excited about various events happening in the GTA, including that big BTS concert. Here's my advice. You have one job if you're going to this concert tomorrow. Today, you have to secure a poncho. If you don't need it, great. If you do need it, you're going to be happy that you found one today. So stay dry, folks, and have fun. A reminder, Rogers Stadium is a rain or shine venue. Let's hope all is going to proceed as planned. Sunday, 21 for the high, so slightly cooler, and we are going to trend below seasonal for Monday as well, but Tuesday looks great. We are back into full sunshine with a high of 25 degrees a day, very similar to today, so that'll be a good one if you do want to get out and enjoy. Sean and Michelle, I'm going to give this another try. Let's see. These are so cool. Okay, let me just... Does it work? Am I doing it correctly? Let's see.
Girl, it works. Yeah. Oh, blow it out your nose.
I'm trying. Oh my goodness, I need some more practice. This is so awesome. Thank you very much. Very tasty too. I'll send it back to you.
Oh, you're a good sport, Lindsay. Oh, the kids are gonna love those frozen treats. Have fun. Yay. To sports now, the Tempo, they want to put an end to their 12-game losing streak tonight when they host the Portland Fire.
Rice for three, knocks it down.
The team is coming off a 93-82 loss to the Washington Mystics on Wednesday. That loss mathematically eliminated the Tempo from playoff contention. Tip-off for tonight's game against Portland is set for 10 p.m. Eastern as the teams are hitting the court at Vancouver's Rogers Arena.
The Blue Jays will continue their push for a playoff spot when they begin a series with the New York Yankees tonight.
Whoa, here is a blast to left field. Hammered on out of here by Kazuma Okamoto. And the Blue Jays.
The Jays homered 3 times in a 5-1 win over the Tampa Bay Rays yesterday afternoon. The victory moved the team to just a half game back to the final playoff spot in the American League. First pitch for tonight's game against the Yankees is set for 7:05 in New York City.
You're watching CTV News at noon on this Friday. This is a live look from Hotel X at the X, well underway this afternoon. Stay with us.
The Children's Hospital in London, Ontario will soon be able to use a single drop of baby's blood to come up with diagnoses and treatments.
The new technology will limit the amount of blood needed to be drawn from some of the hospital's most vulnerable patients. CTV's Jerry Dewan reports.
Say hi, everyone. It's expected little Quinn Johnson will be heading home from hospital next week, but it's been a long stay in the neonatal intensive care unit at Children's Hospital. Quinn's due date was July 3rd. She arrived in this world on March 26th, weighing just 500 grams. Her dad says there's no preparing for a premature birth.
Every day you learn something new that you don't know before, and you just got to trust people here.
One of the hardest parts was the constant blood draws to track her progress. Those blood draws would sometimes have to be followed with a blood transfusion.
For Quinn, it was hard to actually take blood on her because she was so small. And so trying to minimize the number of attempts at that is great, but also she has such a little amount of blood in her system. You don't want to be taking extra amounts if you don't have to.
Because her veins were so tiny, it sometimes required 6 or 7 attempts for a blood draw.
She does have some battle wounds and battle scars from all those attempts.
This new lab in the Children's Health Research Institute could dramatically reduce those scars for babies in the future. It's the first pediatric laboratory certified to use O-Link technology.
By using 1 drop of blood and be able to test 5,000 proteins, that allows us to look at the whole body and be able to tell us, how the baby is progressing.
Not only will there be fewer jabs, but the diagnostic capabilities are greatly improved and results are returned almost immediately.
This will allow us to develop new diagnostic tests that will be a lot more specific, and we can dedicate specific treatment for these babies. We call precision medicine.
The O-Link system was purchased with funds from the Children's Health Foundation. At this time, O-Link can only be used for research purposes, and it could take years before it's cleared for use in clinical settings. But Dr. Hahn says even as a research tool, it will save the hospital significant costs from having to send samples out of country for analysis. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
Ontario is set to ban some controversial procedures on pets, but there is one practice that animal advocates say should have made the list.
CTV's Karis Mapp spoke with Ontario's Solicitor General about the changes.
As of January 1st, it will be illegal to declaw cats, devocalize dogs, or crop their ears.
There really isn't any medical benefit to the animal for any of these procedures.
New regulations will come into effect in 2027, making Ontario the last province to implement such a ban on these surgeries.
We want people to have pets as their loved ones, as their extended members of their family, but there is a responsibility to care for them.
Pet owners may think the procedures are harmless, but they carry big consequences.
Cats use their claws for climbing, for balance, for self-defense. When they don't have their claws available to them, it can cause some behavioral issues.
While strides are being made to protect animals from the procedures, advocates say more needs to be done.
Obviously, dogs use their barking as a major form of communication to other dogs, to their human companions, etc.
And there are questions about why not all procedures were included.
If you consider both ear cropping and tail docking as cosmetic procedures, why was one included and not the other?
Tail docking, a surgical procedure that removes a portion of an animal's tail, will still be allowed in Ontario. The practice is used to meet cosmetic standards of certain dog breeds.
They are purely for human or breeds aesthetics rather than any benefit or welfare for that animal.
Ontario Solicitor General explains the rationale.
We have to also listen to rural Ontario. We have to listen to people that hunt. We have to listen to our stakeholders in the Four Corners.
And while advocates worry that tail docking will still be allowed, they are encouraged by this step forward.
We're hoping that, again, this legislation is a first step, and it's something that the province will consider and implement, in the future.
Karis Mapp, CTV News.
Still to come, the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board's cutting jobs across the province. We'll have the details when we come back. An Ottawa mother is speaking out after an incident involving an Uber Eats driver earlier this month.
She says a man returned to her home multiple times after a delivery to drop off bags filled with treats and money for her 12-year-old daughter. CTV's Katie Griffin reports.
It was an unexpected discovery that has this mom on edge.
It's very unnerving. I have not been able to sleep.
Without her knowing, this woman's 12-year-old daughter ordered Uber Eats during a sleepover with a friend after midnight, August 3rd. She'd used her Mido card, a money app for kids to spend and learn how to budget, to open an account.
She ordered Wendy's Frosties, and the delivery driver came in and dropped it off. And then about an hour later, we got somebody was knocking on the door and rang the doorbell, and they found that there was a brown paper bag that said her name was addressed to her and said, "From your secret admirer," and it had candy in it.
They didn't know who it was from, but installed security cameras the next night. Then almost 2 weeks later, on August 16th,
we found another package that was addressed to her, and inside had candy, a $20 bill, and a note that said, "To her name, from your secret admirer," with a phone number on it. And we looked at our cameras and we saw that it was an older man.
Her daughter identified him as the delivery driver and discovered the same white car had passed by their home in Canada multiple times in the overnight hours.
He asked for her number to verify it was her, and she said, "Do you really need that?" And he said, "Well, you could either give me your number or you could give me the last 4 digits." And then he also told her and her friend that they looked very mature.
In a statement, an Uber spokesperson says this behavior is unacceptable and has no place on the Uber platform. "We take reports like this extremely seriously, and as soon as it was reported, the delivery person's access to the app was removed." Ottawa police are investigating.
I think it's really important for parents to know and to talk to their kids so it doesn't happen to anybody else.
Katie Griffin, CTV News.
Cuts are coming to Workplace Safety and Insurance Board officers in Waterloo and Guelph. The Ontario Compensation Employees Union says it's been notified that 155 jobs will be cut in Waterloo in a year and that the local office will be closing. The WSIB says hundreds of jobs are being cut across the province as it consolidates the roles of some back office staff. It says there will still be local teams providing in-person support for people returning to work. However, the union says the loss of staff will result in delays for service, claims, decisions, and reimbursements. You're watching CTV News at noon. A live shot there would be Dassagay Park near Cherry Street. It is a beautiful Friday afternoon. Stay with us.
A live album of performances from the Tragically Hip's final tour has been released today.
You are ahead by a century. You are ahead by a century.
The band embarked on their final tour a decade ago after frontman Gordon Downey was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. They played in 15 cities across the country, performing their final show in their hometown of Kingston, Ontario, August 20th, 2016. Downey died just over a year later at the age of 53.
Spider-Man Brand New Day is expected to swing into another weekend at the top of the box office.
You're not going to get away with this. But he might.
Deadline forecasts the movie, which has already become Sony's highest-grossing title ever, will bring in another $35 million U.S. across North America in its 4th weekend. Another sequel is expected to make its debut in 2nd place. Insidious, Out of the Further, is tracking towards somewhere in the mid-20 millions, while Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey will look to hold on to its own spot in the top 3.
Well, we'll move over to somebody who was showing us her superpowers in the last hit, Lindsay Morrison, who was blowing smoke. What do you got now?
Well, not quite the same thing anymore, Sean and Michelle, but there's always something interesting going on here at the CNE, and we stumbled upon a presentation that was happening just a few moments ago. This is the Canadian Raptor Conservancy, and this beautiful bird is named Sasquatch. So yeah, a great show happening here the last few minutes. Look at the skyline behind. It is an absolutely beautiful day here at the CNE to come on down and enjoy opening day. Boy, do I wish the weekend forecast was looking just like this. But let's take one more look at your temperatures that you can expect for the night tonight. It is going to be a clear evening and a pleasant overnight with a low of 16 degrees. Tomorrow, though, yes, things are decidedly more active, and same with Sunday. Chance of showers, not an all-day washout, but rounds of showers possible. Some rain, heavy at times, some downpours, thunderstorms possible too, and then it will be on and off showers into the day on Sunday. Here's your camping forecast in case you're heading out of the GTA for the weekend. It's nice today. It's decent in some places tomorrow. Sunday is decidedly a little more unsettled. And then here's one more look at your 7-day forecast. Temperature-wise, we are looking a little cooler through the early part of next week. Again, it's been a pleasure being live here at the CNE on opening day. Sean and Michelle, I'm going to send it back inside to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. And that's CTV's News at Noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and on our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Sean Leathong. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a good afternoon.